And it's time now for my top 10 inside linebackers in the NFL. Now, this list took a while to make, longer than how some of my usual lists end up. I usually do them within 10 to 15 minutes. This one almost took me an hour to make. Um, it was mainly because I wasn't looking in the right spots to do my research and ended up with a list that I didn't like. But after a couple, doing some more research, asking some help, and revising my list a couple times, I've found a list that I think I'm happy with. But there is one part where I think I could go back and fix. But there's always next year for me to fix my mistakes. Now at number 10, I have Paul Posluszny. Paul Posluszny is a guy who has been in the league for a while and has been a pretty decent linebacker for the Jaguars, even when the Jaguars haven't been that good. When I went to research, one of the first things I went to look for was tackles, and he was up there with the tackling. He was one of the best tackling. I think he was 8th in tackling, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to put him on this list. I think if you're a good tackler when you're a linebacker, that is enough to put you on the list. He is the one guy who I would fix if I were to go back, but I can't go back now. At number 9, I have Ryan Shazier, a young up-and-coming middle linebacker for the Steelers. You're going to see a couple guys who are young and up-and-coming on this list. There's a couple other guys. Ryan Shazier is one of them. Ryan Shazier has played pretty good since having, to be one of the linebackers for the Steelers. Now, at number 8, I have another young and up-and-coming linebacker, Kiko Alonso. Kiko Alonso has done a lot, and he's also been in a couple teams. He's been on the Eagles, the Bills, now the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins is a long-term stay for him now. But almost everywhere he's been, he's succeeded. He's shown that he can succeed with the different teams he has been in. Again, I looked up there in tackles. Pretty good stats overall. I think he can be considered one of the top 10 linebacker. There are probably a couple guys you can make a case so you could bump on this list to fit another guy. But like I said, this was a pretty hard list to make. At number 7, Eric Kendricks, another young and up-and-coming linebacker. He's been in the league for a while now, not that long. And he has played good in that Vikings defense. One of the Vikings' biggest strengths have been their defense, and he's one of the reasons. Eric Kendricks has been a pretty good linebacker in the last couple of years. I think 7's a good spot for him. Once again, there's a lot of guys that you could also put on this list. At number 6, I have a guy who's, once again, a pretty good linebacker for his team. I have C.J. Mosley. C.J. Mosley is ranked in the top 20 in tackles. Some of the original guys I had on the list weren't even in the top 20, so he was a guy who he was here on the original list, and he's still here to stay. C.J. Mosley has done a pretty good job in the last couple of years. I think this is a good spot for him. I don't think there's any movement maybe towards higher up in the list, 10, 8, or 9, but I think 6 is a good spot. Now at number 5, I have a guy whose defense I've mentioned in the last couple of videos, K1 Alexander. I've mentioned Gerald McCoy. I've mentioned a guy who plays next to him, and the name is slipping me right now, but it doesn't matter. He plays on a very good Buccaneers defense. This Buccaneers defense is going to be very good next year. Watch out. It has been good in the last couple of years, but watch out. This Buccaneers defense is going to be good and could be possible playoff contender. Number 4, I have Zach Brown. Zach Brown is, once again, pretty good. When I first made the list, he wasn't on the list, but I revised it, and now he's on the list at number 4. He's up there in tackles. He was in the top 5, I believe, in tackles. When you're a linebacker, that's what you want to do. You want to rack up tackles, and he does that. That's why I have him here at 4. I can see him moving up later on. At number 3, I have a guy who could be a bit of, not a surprise, but hasn't. You can make a case that he should be higher up on the list, in the top 10, top 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. You can make a case he shouldn't be in the top 5, but as a 49er fan, he's going to be in my top 3. Navarro Bowman, when healthy, is a tackling machine. This guy racks up a bunch of tackles. Sure, you can make the case, oh, but he gets hurt. But he's great. Oh, but he can't cover. But he gets the tackles. He gets the job done. Good run stopper. Has been very good in the 49ers defense for a long time, even when their defense wasn't good. He would stand out and was one of the best players, and is why he is the captain of that 49ers defense. At number 2, of a guy who is a rival to my San Francisco 49ers, Bobby Wagner from the Seattle Seahawks. Bobby Wagner has made himself one of the best linebackers in the league ever since the insurgence of the Legion of Boom. The Legion of Boom is a very great defense, and one of the reasons why is this guy right here, Bobby Wagner. He's a very good linebacker. I could see him, falling back to 3 and Navarro Bowman leapfrogging over him. I could see him falling into the number 1 spot and leaping over the guy who have a number 1. But I think 2 is a good spot, especially with the guy who I have a number 1. And number 1, I have Luke Kuechly. There's no doubt about he is the best middle linebacker in the league. Even if people forget about him sometimes, he is one of the best linebackers in the league. And I don't know how you would forget about him. He's one of the best. He does a lot for that Panthers defense, the captain of that Panthers defense, and one of the reasons why that Panthers defense is so good. I think he's here to stay at number 1 for a while. I could see a couple guys leapfrogging him. And that's my top 10 linebackers in the NFL right now.